Oh, you got it working? Damn, just in time. Thanks, guys. Yeah. It's been that kind of a winter. This is gonna be a fun day.
Hey, it's Steve. Welcome back to Clear Direct. We're airborne with KMaas and Terry. You might have seen them helping me move the RANS S-21 into the hangar. Thanks again, you guys. We're airborne in the S-35 Bonanza today on a beautiful late winter's day. We just got dumped with snow, and so the mountains are out there. It's just fantastic. But really excited. We're headed out to Kip's house. He's in Independence, Oregon. He's one of the original S-21 builders. So we're going to meet him. We're going to take a look at his airplane. We're going to see some things that I'm not quite sure about in my build, how the door lines up. I'm working on the baffling for the engine, so I'm really excited to talk to him and check out his aircraft. But I'd like to thank the sponsor of this episode is Lift Aviation. I'm super stoked. They offer stuff for my airline life, pilot shirts for general aviation life, knee boards and casual shirts, and then of course for backcountry. They're building me this helmet out of carbon fiber and a Bose A20. They're going to put it all together. I'm super excited.
Go to liftaviationusa.com. Use the promo code ClearDirect15 for 15% off your order.
All right, with that being said, let's go to Independence, Oregon.
Everybody, this is Kip. Kip, thanks for taking the time today. I really appreciate it, and thanks for letting me film. This is such a unique opportunity. So you have RANS airframe number what now?
12.
12. That's incredible. Okay, so you've been working...
well, actually started on the wings in 2017.
Okay.
They didn't have the fuselage kit yet.
Well, I have no idea what paint scheme, what yours looks like, so can we check it out?
I kind of copied a factory paint scheme.
You
Instead,
did?
it looks a little bit like one they had on their brochure.
Well, those are good-looking paint schemes. Let's go check it out.
Okay.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Oh, man. Kind of stuff in here.
So this is an air park. How long have you lived here?
Well, we built the hangar, was finished in 1995, and my wife and I got married in the hangar.
Did you?
In August of 95.
That's so cool.
Yes, well, the one thing that attracted me to this airplane in the first place, before, I never got a ride in one or anything, went back to RANS in Kansas or anything to see how it flew. I'd flown in an S7,
Sure.
which is a tandem with a Rotax motor. But looking at the specs on the airplane, the thing that attracted me to it had a wide speed envelope.
Yeah, me too.
From stall to almost a 4-to-1, let's say.
Wow.
Because originally he was claiming 38 miles an hour on this stall. Now he's revised it to 40.
Yeah.
I can get it down below 40 with the VGs, with power, but not with power off.
Okay.
But the top end, you know, he wasn't really making too many wild claims about that. I think he was saying, well, it probably will cruise at 155, you know,
That's what I've heard.
max throttle at 6,000-7,000 feet.
Yeah.
I see a good honest 150,
Okay.
you know, and that's probably not at 75% power. That's lower, a little lower power setting. But
What's your empty weight, if you don't mind me asking?
1060. Well, it was 1056, and then I put on the dual second caliper on the brakes, so there's dual caliper there. Now he's just temporarily a piece of wood on there, a little tapered piece of wood that's
Oh, no
for
kidding.
a rudder tab. I need to put something more permanent on there.
Just that amount, huh? And
Yeah,
that's
it wasn't. I mean, the ball was maybe just slightly out.
Yeah.
You know, not much.
Yeah. Okay, so you got I have this too, the Aerosport products tail fairing.
Yeah, I like that carbon fiber fairing. It's just purely aesthetic.
It looks great, yeah.
You know, I thought it softened the junction there of the vertical with the fuselage. So, and you know, it was $300, but so what? I'm happy with it. I didn't want to paint it because it's such a pretty carbon fiber piece. I thought I'd just leave it.
I know. I considered doing the same with that, and then I got the wingtips too. But you know,
I'm interested in the wingtips. I'd like to know more about them.
They go on great.
Maybe you could send me some pictures of yours.
I'll send you pictures. I've got a whole episode on them. And then Jeff Combs, he runs Aerosport products. He did a bunch of testing with them and actually has some data as far as the performance improvements.
Well, they're a little more squared off, aren't they?
Yeah, trailing edge span is a good, like, I don't know, 10 inches or so.
Yeah.
It definitely changes the look of the wingtip. And they go on just so easy.
And
so easy.
they've got to help a little bit and get them a little more wing area, and maybe they help the drag or vortex off the wing.
You know what?
I don't know.
What Mike talked me into is doing the BAS Taildragger Handle. So I have the same little handle that he's got.
Well,
mid-empennage.
This is RANS's handle.
Yeah, I put in that too.
And that works okay. You just slide it in there, and there's a button in there that, you know, is pops out on the other side, so I can't pull out until you release the button.
Okay, so you opted for your static vent way back here, huh?
Well, that was just a guess. I basically kind of copied what the Bonanza had, sort of, and what some other airplanes had.
So we should qualify him. He's been an A&P IA for a long time.
It was about halfway between the trailing edge of the wing and the leading edge of the stabilizer.
Yeah, that's exactly my thought too, is putting it probably not quite this far back, but
Yeah.
somewhere a little bit more maintenance friendly behind the Station 4
reason
closeout.
I put it there was I could reach in and hook up the tubes from the inspection covers on the
Oh,
bottom.
okay,
If
that
you
makes
go
sense then.
fairly
Yeah, you're going to be
further
locked
forward,
out
you
back
won't be
here.
able to do that.
Sure.
I think you could go a little ways further, but
Okay.
anyhow, I guess that was the thinking.
Yeah, but obviously further back probably the better. I mean, it gets it away from the majority of the prop thrust. Okay, so I'm taking a look. Clearly, this is kind of where my focus is lately. So of course I'm.
Open that door over there.
Oh, sure. Now, can you tell me about the lift strut shimmy issue they had since you were an early adopter?
I never flew it with the old struts. You know, the original struts had a flat. They were flat between, there's two extruded ribs in here, let's call them.
Okay, right.
Right about there.
Mm-hmm.
So they had airfoil shape just like this, front, top and bottom, and then it was a flat on both sides from about that far.
Okay.
And I think that's what created the airflow separation
Okay.
and resulted in their
Just vibration and
vibration,
flutter.
buzzing,
Yeah, because
buzzing of the strut.
the solution was put grip tape just to kind of like VGs
Well, you know,
to disrupt the
originally
airflow.
what they did, the very first thing they tried was a jury strut.
Huh.
They actually went in here and put a rib nut in the spar. And then they attached a little jury strut up here to stiffen this strut up
Sure.
and reduce the vibration. But I've never had any issues with, well, see, then they changed to this full airfoil strut, and they didn't have any trouble with that.
Yeah,
then.
that's okay. Good. Now, tell me about this. This is not stock.
I wanted to be able to drain fuel out of the right and left because usually a plane will not, if you got it on both, it will not drain out of both tanks equally typically.
Yeah.
It'll drain out of one versus the other.
And they have a heavy wing.
Yeah, and you have a heavy wing, you got no way of balancing it out. And if it's sitting on a slope and you happen to fill the airplane up right before you're on a side slope, then it's going to drain over to the other tank and puke out the breather. And I've flown Grummans for many years and Bonanza, and they all had a left-right fuel selector valve. And there's no problem of managing that. I never felt that was an issue at all. So, and this reportedly, and I believe it now that I've had it for a while, is an Andair fuel valve that's made in England. It's probably the best fuel selector valve there is.
Okay. Do you have a header tank?
Yeah, it's right.
So this is before. So clearly the wings go into this, and then this goes in one line into the header tank, I suppose.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, what happens is the wings do go into here instead of straight into the header tank. So they go into here, and then I can feed back from whichever wing tank I'm flowing fuel from into the header tank.
Okay.
And then it comes out the front right here under the seat. Down here comes into a fuel filter and then into the high pressure fuel pump right
That
here.
looks just like mine, yep.
I had a shut-off valve here coming right out of the header tank, just a quarter turn ball valve, so I could shut that off. That way I could take these lines and pump out and filter and service it all without having to drain a wing tank or a header tank.
Okay.
Now I don't have to drain a wing tank because I can shut this completely off. So I can drain the header tank and then I can work on this stuff. I designed it so I made all hard tubing. I bent tubes and routed them down here to this valve. And all the way up to the engine compartments. It's all hard line plumbing.
For stick monkeys like myself that haven't built a plane before, or don't know why is rubber tubing bad or inferior to partner lines?
Well, it's okay. Let me say it's not as long life as aluminum tubing, for instance.
Okay.
You know, I mean, eventually the rubber was probably going to have to be replaced, but it might be 15, 20 years. I don't know.
Okay.
Randy, and I'll have to give him credit for this, he designed everything with weight in mind. He was really paying attention, trying to keep the weight down on this airplane. The whole skin, everything is only 20 thousandths thick, which is pretty damn thin skin.
Yep.
You won't find a certified airplane with that thin a skin other than on the tail or maybe the ailerons or something. Here's where the original seat stopped, and it was nothing but a piece of 20 thousandths skin right here. That you were sitting your butt on. Oregon Aero, which did the upholstery work and cut the foam and stuff, didn't like that. They said there's not enough support for the back end where your butt is on around your tailbone. I changed all the pieces in the back here, which were 20 thousandths. There were 3 different cross pieces, and I went up to 25 thousandths there, and I added a piece back here. I put a rod back here. Half-inch rod all the way across that this piece is bent 90 degrees and hooks over the rod. So I've got really good support here.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's how they are now. I think that's how mine are.
I bent a hoop right here, and then I made a gusset on both sides and tied that in with quite a few rivets into the top tube here.
Okay.
Which I think turned out really quite well.
Yeah, it looks great.
I like it.
Let me tell you something that, let's see, I don't think you have this. This is an upgrade, fairly recently. Rudder return cable support. So they put in another pulley. I think Mike bought it and put it in.
Yeah, I think so. I have this pulley here, which they're going around up there.
Yeah.
But that's not what you're talking about.
No, there's another pulley that goes here and up there. It's another one that limits the, you know, if you jam on the brakes or whatnot, the only thing holding everything back are these really long cables going all the way to the rudder. So I imagine them being able to stretch and whatnot. So that lowers the travel. It's just a closed loop system, 2 pulleys and 2 cables. That's what's holding everything forward.
I read about that.
Yeah.
I'm not that concerned with this,
Yeah.
but I
Okay.
can see where it might be a good improvement.
Yeah.
I don't jam on the brakes, first off.
Right. Okay, I'm about to do the gear strut fairings, so that's good to see how those go in. It's about what I expected. And then the quarter turn, I think I'm going to put in just like a Bonanza style latch on my oil door.
Oh, if you got one of those Hartwell or whatever they.
Yeah, I just ordered a refurbished one.
You don't have to have a screwdriver to open it.
Yeah, a surplus one.
Yeah.
So that'll be a little upgrade.
I wouldn't mind doing that too. You know, which I might do down the road. I've thought about that.
Okay, so you've got a 3 blade. This looks only like what, 80 inch, or
72.
Oh yeah,
It's short and small diameter.
Yeah.
And the reason I
Look how
chose
much
that
clearance
was
you have.
because that's probably the lightest weight constant speed prop there is.
Oh, it's constant speed.
Yeah.
Yikes. I didn't even catch the blue knob
I
in
wanted
here.
to get as much performance out of this 180 horsepower as I
There it
could. So
is.
I'm getting full power for takeoff.
Oh, that's fantastic.
You know, they're
So so you could order the Titan IO 340 high compression with a hollow crankshaft, huh?
Yeah, it comes with a hollow crank. Well, maybe not all versions of it, but I wanted a hollow crankshaft. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Mine's solid.
I'll tell you what, I have a little experience with a MT prop on a Tiger, which has a solid crankshaft. And also any Ivo prop or whatever that's electric controllable.
Yeah.
The MT is actually a constant speed, but none of these electric props work like a hydraulic. They're slow to react.
I've flown them
They
at
don't
Kit
do as
Foxes.
good a job.
Yeah, but you know, in a incremental upgrade where you don't want to pull a motor.
Yeah, but if you're buying a Titan motor, why not just get it with a hollow crank?
Well,
Then
for me, it was.
You could put a Hartzell, you could put anything on
I
there
know.
you want.
That's true. It was a cost thing for me.
I don't think the cost was all that much on the.
Well, don't tell me that.
Don't hurt his feelings.
I know.
I think that was a minor
That's
cost,
great.
actually.
Oh man.
You know, you got some other costs on there, like a magnesium sump.
Well, and I put in
save
crazy
some weight.
avionics too.
Yeah,
So I went
that's
on the avionics.
that's where they
but-
like to spend their money, is on the instrument panel. No, I like this prop. It works wonderfully.
Yeah.
It's quick to respond. It's very low inertia.
It's beautiful.
The
Obviously
only
carbon.
disadvantage of this prop is, and other people have had the same issue that have had this, it's thrown grease out around the hub here, around the blade hub.
Oh, has it? Okay.
And I'm not sure that's resolved yet.
Okay.
I bought some special high temp grease that Hartzell changed to a couple of years ago. And that seems to have helped, but I think it has to do with the temperature of the engine and the prop and how hot that hub gets. The grease, I think the grease softens up, and maybe there's a couple of O-rings in there, and the grease can maybe migrate past those O-rings on where they're rubbing on the wear sleeve. I think those size tires are good for most of what people want to do with this airplane. You know, you can go into a lot of the backcountry strips in Idaho with those size tires.
Okay.
You can go with bigger ones if you want. You know, the prices go up exponentially as you go larger diameter. Even a 26-inch, well, like a Goodyear, which is the cheapest, is over $1,000 a tire now. And as you go into a what's their name in Alaska? I can't say
Bush wheels?
Bush wheels, yeah, Alaska bush wheels. When you get to 29 and so on, then the price is way up there. And of course, you're going to slow the airplane down.
Yeah, that's
You
a
know,
trade-off.
I mean, you're starting to hurt
Right.
the upper end capability that was designed into this airplane.
Yeah,
You can't.
These sorts of things do wonders, and then all of a sudden you put on 29s.
You're never going to get this thing as slow as a Cub. It's got too short of a wing. It's only 28-foot wingspan.
Yeah, but the cord is huge.
But
It's
it's only 141 square feet of wing area.
Oh, is that what the
all
141
it
meant?
is.
I never knew what the 141 meant, because they call this a 141 wing.
Yeah, and
It's square footage,
so
okay.
I mean, the only way you can keep reasonable low end is keep the weight light, you know, and that's also helps the takeoff and climb. I mean, this thing literally. I got off the ground at the STOL competition last year in August, and it was hot. It was, I don't know, 80, 85 degrees, something like that. I got off the ground at 151 feet, which I'm pretty happy with, you know. I can't land it that short, but that's pilot skill there.
Yeah.
Or whatever, the plane won't land that short anyhow, I don't think. But the VGs did help. I think I slowed it down maybe 4 miles an hour, at least with power on, versus not having any on there.
How did you come up with the location?
Well,
Did you do any trial and error?
No, I didn't. The guy that made them is in Australia, and he had some recommendation.
Sure. Just rules of thumb.
I think he said about 3 inches after the leading edge, and but he had a kit. These are 60 millimeter spacing. He had a little template that you can stick on there.
Okay.
Get the angle right. I put the back edge right about where that seam is on the, or the front edge right about where that seam is.
Sure.
Where the spar stops.
Yeah.
That's another nice feature about this airplane is that spar.
Sure is. That's a fantastic.
And the truss structure that transfers the load from the front spar to the back there. That's some nice engineering work.
Absolutely. Well, he's a bicycle manufacturer by trade. It looks like a bike frame, a really nice beefy bike
it's
frame.
a truss, you know, and it's nice.
Here.
I think if I remember right, he tested the wing to 9 Gs.
Yeah.
And it bent the skin or something like that, you know, but that was about it, I guess.
Yeah. As far as engine cooling goes, did you modify the outlet at all, or
Oh,
put
yeah.
a
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
My very first flight was a really hot day, my CHT went right up to 450 right away. That first flight only lasted about 10 minutes.
Wow.
Because the temperature was climbing so fast, there wasn't any point in continuing to fly it.
Yeah, that's too hot.
So I kept opening up that outlet, because originally that lower cowling came clear back. It stopped clear at the firewall. This here came clear back to here. So you can see all you had was this area right here. This edge right here was clear back, even with the back of the cowling.
Sure. Okay, now I think they tell you to open up like a semicircular area.
I didn't do that. I just kept cutting.
You just kept cutting it back. Okay.
Pieces off there.
Okay.
And I put this on here too.
You think that helps guide the airflow?
Well, it creates a little bit of a lip here. Probably creates a little negative pressure there. Maybe draw some air out.
Yeah.
But I bought a baffle kit from Van's Aircraft for an RV6, and I modified it. It took me quite a bit of work up here on the front to do reshape or redo all their baffling. But I paid a lot of attention to the inlet.
Different too.
And I'm still a little marginal on my cooling, I think.
So what kind of CHTs are you seeing on climb on average standard day?
It'll go over 400 degrees without any trouble on a hot day, probably, if you've got a lot of power in there.
Well, what airspeed are you holding usually?
Well, this plane will climb pretty good even at 100, at least at 100 miles an hour. You don't have to climb slow to get climb out of it.
Okay.
You're climbing this thing at almost the cruise speed of a Cub.
Yeah.
A lot of them.
So that little, I've heard about that too, the lip right here to help.
Well, that was something that I knew about. I borrowed that from my Grumman, had that from the factory. A lot of the airflow was coming back and coming down the firewall and rolling out the bottom. That just nice radius smooths out the airflow and actually probably increases the airflow there or over a sharp lip.
Okay.
You know, at the bottom.
Yeah.
It was pretty easy to put in there. I just rolled a piece of aluminum in it. There's an angle that supports that bolts that hold that front pulley to the firewall.
Yeah.
And so that lip of that angle stuck out. It was a nice deal. Just roll it in underneath that angle and rivet it to that angle. Or
You can even upsize that angle, lengthen it to be a good angle.
I just stopped when I got out to where the exhaust pipe were. I didn't want to bring it out further, but
okay, well that's great.
It probably might have helped a little more.
Yeah.
I think the inlet area here on this cowling is a little marginal, to be honest with you.
It does feel a little small.
And I've got really good baffling. I mean, it fits perfectly.
Does it? Yeah.
And I run your hand in there and feel how I fared that back in.
Oh wow. Yeah.
That's like a lot of the good RV builders do.
Yeah. Okay, you've got some aluminum tape or something up against just for more sealing between the.
No, that was that when you tape up on the front of a cylinder. Generally, you got a temperature variation between the front and the back cylinder.
Yeah.
Usually, the front cylinders are cooler and the back are hotter. So you'd like to balance that out. You'd really want to get the back cylinders down in temperature, and the front ones are running cool enough you can sacrifice some cooling. So you put that tape or actually put aluminum baffle strip there to force more of the air to go over rather than starting to dive down through those fins.
Oh, okay.
And so you actually heat up the front cylinder and you get a little more air to the back, so you get a little more cooling. You like to get those front and back cylinders within 10 degrees or so, maybe 15 at the most. A lot of planes fly around with 40-degree temperature variation between the front and back cylinders.
Yeah, let's talk about.
Mike
Plexiglass.
wanted he started out with a 1/4-inch thick windshield because he was afraid of a bird strike. And that's the reason he went to it. But Randy told me he was going to have trouble because this thing was all designed for 1/8 inch, and the way the trim strips fit up here and the skylight and the windshield mating together there, the 1/4 inch created all kinds of problems for him. So he gave up on that and went to the 150 thousandths. Randy went to from the 1/8 inch to 150 thousandths thick windshield is what they have now. Okay. See, the whole reason for it was to try and keep the weight down.
Right. Mind if I sit in it?
Yeah, go ahead.
My concern is
Well,
I'm going to be
you're
wearing
taller than I am.
Well, I'm
You got
taller,
longer legs.
and I'm going to be wearing a helmet for a lot of my, at least test flying.
I think your headroom will be okay, but you're going to have a little bit of an issue just getting in and out. Now the seat's back as far as it can go. Yeah, you're going to have to bend your legs sharp to get it up in there. Get it. Are the bubble doors?
Maybe I'm going to go this way.
I don't like them. They're great in the air because you've got more elbow room and visibility, but they're in your way.
That's the way to do it.
Getting in and out, walking around here.
Okay.
I wish the door would hold flat, but you'd have to have a wider fuselage.
Headroom, straight off the top of the cranium is fine. It's
I don't know if you
this bar right here.
get Kit Plains magazine and follow that.
So if I'm wearing a helmet, I'll probably be a little bit. It's all right. I'll be flying on center line. It's okay. This feels good though. This feels great.
The Strut wouldn't be
Oh, visibility. Visibility is so
they
great.
wanted that extra room right in the. How do you fit in there right now?
Great, honestly.
Your legs are up.
Oh man, what a treat! Thanks, Kip. This is so helpful. You have no idea. See a complete product. These side skins, you did a much better job than I did.
The airplane has a big baggage compartment, which is nice,
Yeah.
and it's got a really wide CG envelope.
Good.
I don't think you can really not get this thing out of FCG. I mean, I looked at some indications here, and if you stay within the limitations in the baggage compartment, and it didn't put your heavy stuff way in the back. I don't think I've had this thing full up here almost, at least up above the windows here, going camping gear.
The Bonanzas you flew are a little newer. The first Bonanza I flew had that aft CG problem.
Oh yeah,
J35.
Yeah.
You could not touch the back seat without
I
sweating
know
a little
about
bit.
that.
Yeah. Oh wow,
I don't know.
this is exciting. Oh, you have no idea. Well, you probably have an idea. Is this your first build?
Yeah,
First build. I mean, you're A&P IA for
the only airplane I've built.
Okay.
Thank you so much to Kip for sharing his beautiful RANS S-21 and his experience with us. Before we departed, I asked him what advice he has for first-time builders just getting started. He said, have a system to help you stay organized with all your parts and know that there will be ebbs and flows of motivation, but just keep at it. If you enjoyed this episode, please give it a like. Ensure you're subscribed to make sure you don't miss me putting on my wings of my own RANS S-21 in Bend, Oregon tomorrow. Until then, you're cleared direct.